Wait. What time is it? I left my watch in the sinking submarine. There's no way I could possibly know what time it is. If only I had some sort of solution. What time could it be? Wait a minute. I know. There's only one time that it could be. There's only one time that it ever is. It's Morbin Time. Yes! Or is it? Or is it? Is it Morbin Time? Kinda no. Because the film, in case you didn't know, re-released recently in the cinemas in the US of America. I don't know if it came to the UK, but it came to 1,000 theatres and made the princely sum of $85,000. Now, that may seem a lot if you don't know much about film. However, Marvel films typically make, along the span, I know Black Panther made over $1 billion, Captain Marvel made over $1 billion, Endgame made over $2 billion, was it Infinity War, I think, made close to $2 billion. These are huge blockbuster films, massive blockbuster films, and this, I think it goes without saying, is an underperformance. I think it was throughout the entire weekend, $85,000. So apparently it averaged on 82 people. $82 per theatre. Now, I know in the UK a cinema ticket is between sort of 10 to 12 to maybe even £15. So in the US, I'm thinking that's about 75 people per theatre across the whole weekend for this film. Wow, that isn't even enough to fill a whole screen. That is really bad. That's devastatingly bad. And it links into something that I've been trying to talk about on this channel for a long time. But every time I do, man, I delete it and I don't go forward with it because it's an opinion that you're not really allowed to have on the internet. But you get crucified for saying stuff like this. I'm going to try to do this in a way that doesn't get, doesn't result in me looking out of my window and finding the cast of The Simpsons with pitchforks outside my house. I'm going to try to do it in a way that doesn't make people want to kill me. But, look, rich people aren't necessarily smart. And executive producers are very rich. They are very rich people. And if you're a filmmaker of any shape or size, I think you are probably inclined to believe to agree with that stance. I have, studied the process of getting a film greenlit and, production and where it goes, distribution, blah, 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 blah. It's not as smart as you would think. There's not some genius tied up in a room with one of those slide rules just figuring out the center of the universe, the code that goes into the center of the universe. No, they get a bunch of trends and a bunch of numbers and algorithms and analysis, and they say, oh, this did well, so we'll do this, which is like this, because people will want to see this because they like this. Doctor Who did well. Let's do a show that's kind of like Doctor Who. Oh, Doctor Who's not doing well? No more shows that are like Doctor Who. Not anymore. They have no intelligent way of determining what will and won't succeed. And the worst part is they're all kind of old and very out of touch with the way things work. And obviously this is what's happened with Morbius. Look, on the one hand, I do agree that any publicity is good publicity. I think Kanye proves that every time he releases an album and it becomes the most streamed album of the year, despite the fact that it's complete dog shit, because he gets into some controversy, he gets divorced with someone, or, there's a fight for custody and he gets mad at someone. There's always messages that leak, or like a nude or something, he always gets up to something just before an album releases so that you're talking about him before the album releases. It doesn't matter what he says or what he does, as long as it's controversial, and usually negativity is the most controversial stuff, and he knows that and he uses it to his advantage. And of course, this is what happened with Morbius, is that the film released and everyone's talking about it, but talking about, what a complete failure and bullshit film that it is, what a terrible movie it is, despite the fact that I think it was slightly blown out of proportion. That's all people can talk about, and it's become like the king of meme culture, the meme world. I'm not a fan of the meme sphere. Occasionally I see a meme and I think it's great. Overall, I think that people who sort of bathe themselves in memes constantly I'm not one of those people. I'm not someone who gets really into the meme world, but every now and then I'll see one that I like a lot. But yeah, all these memes were made, and all these jokes were made, and the internet sort of became obsessed with this film. And obviously some people at, some of the higher-ups who saw this, they saw that it was trending. They saw its Morbin Time trended several times over the past few weeks. That, they put Jared Leto, who does message underage girls, in a chair and gave him a script, and it said it's Morbin Time, and we're supposed to go, he said the thing. He did, that's the thing that we've all been saying, and he did it as well, and obviously, they've seen the tweets, they've seen the memes, they've seen how popular it is in the meme world, and they assumed that this means that this film has to come back, and if it does, it will be a success. Now, there are two major flaws with that. The first is that it was memeing before, while it was failing, it was memeing before they re-released it, which means it took them a very long time to catch on to the idea that people are actually talking about this movie a lot, which is immeasurably funny to me. I find that really funny that it took them so long to figure this out. Secondly, and most importantly, and this is the important part, yes, people are memeing about it. Yes, all publicity is good publicity to an extent, because these memes weren't just negative. They weren't just poking fun at the film. They were poking fun at the failure that is the film. They were poking fun at how much of a not success it was. The memes weren't just, wow, this is so dumb, this is so stupid. The memes were, look at this cinema that has no one in it. And this is less just poking fun, and it's also, to an extent, reporting on the status of this film. These are reports saying, look, this film is failing. It's funny, and I'm making a meme about it, but ultimately, this is just a complete, monetarily failure of a film. And clearly, what's funny to me is that the executives saw that, it's memeing and people talking about it, and I'm sure they saw the negative memes. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they saw the memes about the film failing, and they assumed that the rules applied that, yeah, but people are talking about it, so if we bring it back, people are going to want to see it. But that's not the case if you just take a second to realize that it isn't just negativity. They didn't latch onto the notion that, no, people know this film is failing. And they're documenting that. This is just them showing you, hey, your film bombed. And they're like, well, if you're talking about it, let's go see it again. It won't bomb again. And it did. Obviously it did. And I just find it just very, very funny that that a bunch of people who are paid so much money can't read into nuance and can't realize that, if their film's bombing and everyone's talking about it bombing, then that's not, people talking about it, giving it exposure. That's people talking about it failing. And that's what happened with Morbius. It's weird. It's a very weird situation that they would have brought it back at all. Even I couldn't see that coming. The saddest part is that it still has come very close to outperforming Suicide Squad. I think it made just a couple million less, and I think it was probably made on less of a budget. It is hard to tap into what people think and, what people want to see, but at the same time, Suicide Squad released at a god-awful time. It was a money they poured a ton of money into and a ton of talent into, and then released it when no one wanted to go to the cinema. It's just another example of it. I don't get it. It's terrible. Executive producers, man. God damn. Anyway, that's that. I'm rambling on. I guess I'll see everyone later. It's Morbin Time.